honestly, name a disease, exercise helps prevent it. So if you're not losing weight and you're not seeing your body change, or you've not got, the six pack you want, the exercise is still benefiting. And I think people forget that. They are focusing too much on these superficial benefits of exercise, when really the ones that are, the most productive to your long-term health, you can't even see. You can't see if your blood pressure is getting better or your blood glucose control is getting better.
So if you're talking to someone to promote the benefits of exercise, I mean, what's your strategy for someone who's, let's say, not taking it in, or someone who clearly needs to take exercise into their life? And I guess I'm asking that probably from my own perspective as someone who's I've always been into exercise to a degree, but much more heavily so over the last couple of years. And I think for me, being in shape, or even not being in shape, but certainly exercising, even, no matter whether or not it translates to being in shape, is absolutely fundamental for success in whatever you want to do. Because if you haven't got your health and fitness, you can't concentrate properly at work, or you can't hang out and keep up with your kids, or whatever it is you want to do. That exercise is so fundamental for it. And I try and keep everything super simplified, and a load of those fancy words you've just been talking about, hypermeniscuses or whatever, I wouldn't even know where to begin. But, for me, I think ultimately it's about, having a diet that is semi-sensible. Like I don't calorie count and things just because I know it doesn't really suit me. It's so fashionable nowadays to bang on about giving up booze. I'm never going to give up booze, because I know you're not, and anyone who follows Frankie on social media will know that she'll never give up champagne. But I don't feel I need to give it up because I don't have some problem to achieve by giving up. But I also know that it's better for me when I don't drink, but I want to have that flexibility to have it in. So, I think I eat semi-sensibly. I find exercise that I enjoy and kind of hammer the life out of it, because then it's not really like doing exercise. It's doing something fun that I want to do. That's it really. Find exercise that I enjoy doing, do as much of it as I can, eat semi-sensibly, and everything else kind of falls into place. But I think everybody seems to, the people who can't get into it overcomplicate it. There's always, and now whether or not they're overcomplicating it just to use it as an excuse and say, I need to get all these things in place. Just like in the same way that people who talk about starting a business don't start it because they procrastinate because they want to get all the right pieces in place. But again, it's not that they really want to get perfection. It's just that they want to make excuses so they don't start. And all these people who, who've been on a diet for the last 30 years, you don't have a thyroid problem, you don't have a slow metabolism, you're just fucking lazy. If you want to lose weight, walk more, run more, and eat less food. But you're going to be a lot more polite and medical about it than me. So come on, give some tips.
I think the barriers to exercise and proper nutrition are a little bit more complex than people being lazy. We can, really delve into that. There's lots of reasons, but I think when it comes to exercise, I actually posted a video on this today. People focus on the small stuff when they haven't even got the fundamentals in place. Like, if you are not even moving your body, then it doesn't matter the type of exercise you're doing. It just matters that you're doing it. So you could say to me, I need to get into fitness. And then you think, all right, I've got to sign up to a gym. I've got to go look around the gym. I've got to be able to afford it. I've got to buy the workout kit. I've got to get a PT. I've got to learn the exercises. You don't need to do all that. It could be as simple as, I'm going to establish exercise into my routine. Okay, I need to set aside 3 time slots in my week where I go on a walk, and it starts with that, and that's better than nothing. Also, from a health perspective, a bad workout literally does not exist. So we all have days in the gym where everything feels really heavy, or your head's not in it, you can't lift as much, or you're a bit sluggish, or I run a lot, and some days I'll have really awful runs where my pace is really slow and I'm comparing. But actually, what's going on in your body physiologically is like so many wonderful things that it really doesn't matter. All those things are kind of ego related or aesthetic related. So all the benefits of exercise, to name a few, improved blood pressure, improved blood glucose, so reducing your risk of diabetes, reducing your risk of cancers. Honestly, name a disease, exercise helps prevent it. They are all there independent of your BMI. So if you're not losing weight and you're not seeing your body change, or you've not got the six pack you want, the exercise is still benefiting. And I think people forget that. So they lose motivation because something you mentioned, they're either doing a form of exercise that they don't enjoy and they feel like is a chore, or they are focusing too much on these superficial benefits of exercise, when really the ones that are, the most productive to your long-term health, you can't even see. You can't see if your blood pressure is getting better or your blood glucose control is getting better.
But I think as well, in terms of talking about, exercises that you enjoy, it's a point that it's almost worth us doing to death, because you can never overdo it to death.
No.
How important it is to find something, because people always say to me, like, what's the best form of exercise? And I always say the best form of exercise is whatever you like the most, because it's what you're going to be the most consistent at. Yeah. Now, I hate rowing, absolutely despise rowing, and you won't get me to do more than 30 seconds of it. But, ask me to do boxing, ask me to play tennis. I mean, not run out, I do running more because I have to do it, but anything like boxing, tennis, those kind of things, I almost don't even think of it as exercise. I'm going to go and I just want to go and play a game of tennis, or I want to go and do some boxing, and I can just, do it forever and ever and ever. It's so important to find what you like. I think also, once you start to exercise, you also realise, in the same way that you've said, you can't do a bad workout. It's also impossible to finish a workout not feeling happier than when you started. I'm sure you've got all the science behind it, but I just know that from a layman's perspective, you might walk out of the gym tired, I'm like, but you definitely walk out with some kind of a smile on your face and feeling better than not doing it before. I mean, I guess as someone who posts a lot about this kind of stuff, you must get lots of questions and comments sent to you on social media. What are the kind of questions that the man or the woman on the street are saying to you about, why they're struggling to exercise, or what kind of advice are they asking for you in that arena?
Lots of people ask, like you said, what's the best form of exercise? And the answer to that is what you said, the one that you enjoy and you can sustain. These whole 6-week programs or 3-month programs are kind of useless, because what happens at the end of that period? You need something that doesn't feel like a chore. Sometimes I think it's good to push yourself out of your comfort zone. I certainly do some exercises, yours is rowing, mine is like the ski erg in the gym, which feel awful and I don't enjoy, but I like the kind of discipline that comes with doing them. But yeah, the best form of exercise, doing the one you enjoy. People saying, why can't I lose weight? I think that's a really complex question. I think we overestimate the benefits of exercise for weight loss and underestimate how much impact nutrition has. If you exercise for 1 hour a day, it's a small proportion of your day, whereas the rest of the day you spend a lot of time eating and drinking. I think that's complex. I think as a kind of nation, we do eat the wrong things. There's so much convenience food. There's so much culture around eating out, isn't there? We love eating out. It's social. It means you don't know how it's cooked. There's probably loads of butter and things to make it extra delicious. And you probably have a glass of wine with it, which is kind of extra calories that don't fill you up. So there's complex questions about what's the best way to eat is. But I think if someone isn't seeing any progress, they either need to be real with themselves about what they're doing when they're not in the gym, because you can be pushing yourself as hard as you want, but you can undo some of your progress outside of the gym, if we're talking about weight loss. Have a look at kind of what they're eating and be real about that. And then look at other things like, are you getting enough sleep? There's all these hidden things to do with our health that I think contribute to your overall health, physiological well-being. So are you getting enough sleep? You can be training all you want and eating a healthy, nutritious diet, but if you're sleeping 5 hours a night instead of 7 hours a night, that's undoing some of that hard work. Managing stress, I think, is a huge one, particularly in our day and age. I was thinking about this queuing for the post office the other day, and I was doing all my emails, and I thought to myself, there was a time when I would kind of just daydream in the post office, which I think is important sometimes, to just have mental breaks in the day, and methods of coping with stress. So I think a lot of people ask me, about those, what are the pillars of health? It isn't just about exercise, it's about nutrition, it's about sleep, it's about stress, it's about social engagements and relationships.
I wasn't going to interrupt.
So it's often a lot more complex than people want to believe. Everyone wants a quick fix.
But obviously, and I'm conscious of anything I say not to contradict you from a medical perspective. But yes, you're right insofar as there's so many more things to it. But I think as well, because I do like to bring things down to its simplest point, as important as all of those other bits are, and you're completely right, they are for optimum. The simple fact is, if you exercise more and eat less, you've got to be getting results. And you said something in there, like you need to look at yourself, or you need to take a look at yourself.
But those results are aesthetic. So, if you exercise more and eat less, you might lose body fat. But actually, we talked about, the benefits of exercise are independent of that. So if we're talking about we're exercising to reduce our risk of heart disease or cancer in the future, it's not just exercise and nutrition. So yeah, I think weight loss and health are different parameters. And often people measure their health by what they look like. If you think about some of the magazines I grew up reading, the girls on the cover of the magazines, no, I don't think so. Things like, Vogue or OK magazine, all of these ones where you have a beautiful woman on the front page in great shape, but that doesn't necessarily tell you anything about how healthy she is. That she could have a eating disorder, she could have mental health issues, she might have some endocrine problems, she might have fertility issues. There's loads of things you can't see based on what you look like. And so I think it's a little bit superficial to say exercise more and eat less, because you do need to consider the other aspects.